The COVID-19 pandemic changed life as we know it, causing loss of life, a national recession, reductions in revenues, and economic distress. And we cannot forget the several hundred who are lost to the pandemic. Through each challenge and crisis, the County of Santa Barbara has shown strength, collaboration, and resilience. Your county government has been on the front lines fighting the pandemic, expanding health care, ensuring safety net services, providing public safety and emergency operations. The vaccination rollout is well underway, and very soon all those who want a vaccine will be able to get one. We are grateful to our healthcare heroes and essential workers who haven't stopped in over a year.
Our lives have been so dramatically upended these past few weeks, it's very hard to focus on anything other than the COVID-19 pandemic.
Our own public health employees have worked around the clock on this crisis since January 2020, and alongside them have been other county employees from almost every department. In addition to our workers, we owe great thanks to many community nonprofits, public agencies, philanthropists, businesses, and individual residents whose determination and energy have helped our community respond and recover. When the pandemic began, we were deliberate in maintaining county services to the degree feasible, given that we are the providers of public health, mental health, social services, and other safety nets for the most vulnerable among us. We used reserves in place thanks to years of rainy day savings and cannabis tax revenue. Thankfully, our situation has been stable, although we have incurred losses. Earlier in the pandemic, the county received a share of the state's CARES Act funding since we did not get a direct allocation. This helped fund the earlier pandemic response costs and allowed us to provide community assistance, including $2.4 million in small business grants, rental assistance, and disaster relief for workers. The county later received an additional $13 million for rent and utility support through the December federal COVID relief package, with the state reserving another $14 million for our residents through its program. The county continues to partner with United Way and the Santa Barbara Foundation on these rental and business programs. The public health response included 33,000 contact tracing cases, 600 individuals isolated and quarantined, 92,000 COVID-19 tests performed, and more than 200,000 vaccine doses administered thus far. In any emergency, timely, accurate, and accessible public information and education are critical. Faced with an unknown, unprecedented worldwide threat with very local and personal consequences, that need increased tenfold. The bilingual COVID-19 public information portal was launched in March 2020 and has logged 8.2 million page views. The site content is updated and maintained around the clock, 7 days a week. More than 15,000 hours of staff time has gone toward public information. A community data dashboard was added in October with real-time stats to help present data in a way that is easy to understand and navigate. It was the result of a public-private partnership facilitated by LegacyWorks, collaborating with several organizations and agencies, guided by public health experts and community leaders. Another new collaboration occurred in April 2020, in the early throes of the pandemic, when we began the RISE Guide project, which stands for Reopening in a Safe Environment. This guide was developed working with our medical experts on how to manage reopening and tightening of industry sectors. In developing the RISE Guide, over 350 people took part in 27 roundtable meetings of city leaders, local officials, chambers of commerce, industry sectors, faith-based communities, representatives of essential workers, and organizations that regularly work with underserved populations. While the state later implemented the uniform statewide Blueprint for a Safer Economy, we continue to use our industry contacts and updated RISE Guide to keep businesses informed of resources and changes. The county also quickly stood up the RISE Reopening Attestation process to ensure businesses could open back up as quickly as possible following the first statewide shutdown. Our website at recoverysbc.org still hosts the RISE Guide, as well as state guidelines, economic recovery-related information for businesses, employees, and job seekers, and reopening templates and supporting materials for businesses. Some of the efforts aimed at personal and business recovery included a moratorium on residential and commercial evictions in the unincorporated county and a voluntary program to allow businesses and organizations in the unincorporated county to expand into adjacent outdoor areas to accommodate required distancing protocols and safe practices. We followed that up with the emergency temporary food permit for wineries and wine tasting rooms to qualify as dine-in restaurants to remain open with outdoor service. To facilitate education, outreach, compliance, and enforcement of our current health orders with businesses and individuals, the county launched the RISE Ambassador program out of the Office of Emergency Management. Like the rest of our community, we look forward to the light at the end of the tunnel and the end of this pandemic. As infection rates of COVID-19 continue to decline across the county, we hope to reach the less restrictive yellow tier soon. The progress through the red and orange tiers allows more businesses to open or expand their services. Our vulnerable community members have been hit especially hard by the pandemic. Through Project Roomkey and other initiatives, we provided more than 26,700 bed nights to house unsheltered individuals to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Of those sheltered at Project Roomkey, more than 50% have transitioned to permanent supportive housing. In Isla Vista, we opened a shelter center program of 20 temporary emergency shelter units and services to 50 homeless individuals with the objective to prevent community spread of the virus and linking them to permanent and safe housing resources. With a sharp increase in unemployment, the Social Services Department received requests for services from 16,000 new individuals, a 10% increase in clients. With COVID stimulus funds, an additional $35.2 million in CalFresh emergency food assistance benefits and $1.7 million in CalWorks benefits were issued for the 2020-21 fiscal year. For first responders with children, having safe and reliable childcare has been essential. A partnership with First Five secured emergency supplies for childcare programs so they could meet safety and health guidelines to remain open. Through it all, the wheels of county government continued to spin. In the midst of the pandemic, the tragic death of George Floyd led to the ensuing pain and national reckoning with racism and bigotry. Locally, the board adopted a statement in support of racial equity, created an equity fund, and developed programs to begin looking at issues in our communities, supported an internal training program called JOIN for our department leaders and managers, and addressed jail incarceration and the need for greater diversion. Here's a snapshot of department-wide outcomes and successes. For the safety of our staff and the public, our services had to pivot quickly to accommodate physical distancing and minimal in-person interaction to slow the spread of the virus, which resulted in innovative processes and new online services that will continue well past the end of the pandemic. Although most of the county business offices and facilities have been closed to the public since the start of the pandemic, every department has continued to provide essential services through innovation, technology, creativity, and sheer determination. We have continued to complete several high-priority projects, including 2 opening this year, the Northern Branch Jail and the Resource Center at the Tahiguas landfill. Even prior to the pandemic, the county has been in a time of change and renewal, which will continue as we plan for our near and long-term future and the emergence from the pandemic. Renew 22 has continued to ensure resiliency, fiscal sustainability, and operational efficiency. We are now partway through the KPMG departmental and operational reviews to identify opportunities to enhance our service levels. The pandemic also accelerated many of the changes proposed in the Renew 22 effort, primarily better systems and technology. We also continued virtual online process improvement classes through Innovate SBC. So far, about 200 employees have gone through the program, obtaining their green belts. The program trains employees to eliminate waste and empowers them to rethink or innovate ways to improve workflow and service delivery. The foundational belief is that people are the strongest asset of any organization, and processes must be continually improved. By constantly learning and improving and exploring ways to work differently, employees are equipped to thrive in the present, adapt to post-COVID tomorrow, and anticipate the future. Thanks to our Board of Supervisors, our community members, and our employees for what will be one of the most challenging years of our lifetime. Together, we've shown great resilience, collaboration, and compassion. Together, we will overcome the challenges ahead. Together, we are one county with one future.